The state of Call of Duty is something that's a hot topic of discussion lately in the scene, and rightfully so. Right now, it's rough, objectively speaking. There are plenty of issues across the various different games out there live right now, from Warzone bugs and issues still persisting, a product in Vanguard where there's definitely bugs, but outside of that, there's minimal content apart from MP, with zombies being a hollow shell and campaign being something that, to me, is quite passable. The competitive scene getting zero love and finally speaking up on this again here with this year. The last year and a half has certainly tested fans, the franchise, and all in between. So what's next? What's a surefire way that we nail things down? Get a development window that's actually effective, a full 3 years, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Not necessarily about the immediate future and how these games will hopefully be fixed, nor do I want to talk about the prospect of Modern Warfare 2 on the near horizon in late 2022. Modern Warfare 2 is likely going to be that full product for the first time, uninterrupted in its development time, probably since the last time we saw this was Modern Warfare 2019. But what says Treyarch in 2023? Well, rumors are swirling, and logically speaking, I also think it's the best course of action, and that's what I want to touch on today. Black Ops in 2023. As we go along, feel free to drop your thoughts down below. What do you think of the prospect of another soft reboot? Do you hope that we see this happen? Do you hope we get something new entirely? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers here in 2022, so if you're part of that nearly 70% of viewers who are not subscribed, you'd like to help us out on that goal and would like to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty. 2022 hopefully bringing us some big things, from expansions to updates to Modern Warfare 2. If you want to stay up to date with all of that, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, let's jump into it. First, I want to start out with some current data. Now, this isn't entirely 100% accurate, but it's an at-glance representation of interest across the internet. Google Trends comparisons of Modern Warfare, Cold War, Vanguard, and finally Warzone. Modern Warfare, as you can see, made waves in 2019 for obvious reasons. Recognizable name and one that had a crazy popular history, the return of familiar faces, marketed, mainly Captain Price. At launch, many fundamental and welcoming changes for all types of players, like free DLC, cross-platform, and cross-progression. The removal of supply drops. Ground War was a huge innovation for the game, which at the time captivated a lot of the dueling Battlefield audience. There was a lot going on. Of course, not all of that was perfect. Skill-based matchmaking was introduced, among other things. Fast TTK mixed that all in, but the fluidity of the game with Modern Warfare 2019's engine, the art design, the story, the narrative, and everything that went along with that, mixed with just a modern and familiar setting, is something that made it a hit from the beginning. Sales will definitely indicate that. Warzone's launch and a free-to-play expansion only compounded on that and made it even bigger, making it now to date the best-selling Call of Duty ever. Cold War's launch was, well, lackluster, at least in the sense of content, lack of maps and modes. Development was reported to be in turmoil, and we even learned about that even before Modern Warfare was even revealed back in May of 2019. Also, things like the setting weren't entirely a hit with the community. The campaign I thought was incredible though. My own personal favorite was the outcome that you could help dictate. Cold War though, being a deviation from what players maybe became accustomed to also fundamentally. The engine shifts were system shocks for people, and it was something that didn't quite feel as natural perhaps, depending on who you asked. Some people really loved the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, didn't ever want to go back to it, but then also some enjoyed that sort of arcade nature that Black Ops brought along with it. Vanguard now, well, World War II was met with immediate pushback when announced, or rather even leaked before that, and to me it's probably due in fact to a number of different things, the most probable being one of two options though. Number one, if development was in shambles like rumored earlier last year, it may have been something that was just available to be completed. We see that World War II, there's so much of that left over here and brought over from Vanguard, from weaponry to voice actors to characters like Butcher. It could be why also the campaign felt so empty, at least to me, only being origin stories for about 90% of it, where it didn't feel like the story actually built to anything larger. Or it could be also because the game was potentially greenlit before Modern Warfare's launch and that subsequent skyrocketing in terms of sales, which at that point, World War II was the best-selling COD game of that era. Returning to boots on the ground, something that wasn't super futuristic, nothing going into space. The setting may not have been the best, sure, but it was something that guaranteed them profits. So they may have just been like, all right, let's do it again, before Modern Warfare even came out. But honestly, for Vanguard, I think the biggest thing, turn-off-wise to me, is just the setting. It's not something that's an industry hit like it used to be. So with Modern Warfare 2 on the precipice here, rumored, we should say, it's not anything that's confirmed. What's next? Modern Warfare 2, fingers crossed, should be a great year for Call of Duty, a full 3 years of development. Am I saying it's going to be the be-all, end-all Call of Duty game? No, because every year there's problems. Every year we have our gripes, our complaints, things that aren't addressed, things that just don't make sense design-wise, but it is something that should be at least more fundamentally sound than the last 2 projects we've seen. But outside of that, what keeps Call of Duty from being a one-hit wonder from those sort of 4 to 5 years from Black Ops Cold War 2 when a Modern Warfare 3 could potentially happen? To me, I think what's highly probable and what's being rumored right now is to capitalize on what people know. Call of Duty Black Ops in 2023. Honestly, I thought for sure that they would do this with Black Ops Cold War after Black Ops 4. And for a long time, there was this long-standing rumor where that actually would be the case. People popping up with fake leaks. One of the big ones was right before Black Ops Cold War was actually revealed. Black Ops was something that made the rounds that I distinctly remember, and I'm pretty sure that I still have the fan-made logo image that people thought was the real thing here somewhere on one of my PCs. But just like the World War II being greenlit before the prominence of Modern Warfare, maybe it just wasn't clear how big the name alone could sell and revitalize interest in the game. Now, with the sheer undeniable facts in place based off of what Modern Warfare did, I genuinely would not be surprised if we see a Black Ops following Modern Warfare 2 just like we saw a decade ago. And that's incredibly cool to consider the sort of repeating of history like that, and hopefully it would have the same sort of prominence. Now, the game's quality is an entirely different story to consider, because it seems like right now the game is too big. Even if they delivered a perfect product, I'm sure there could be something to complain about, but given the last couple of years, obviously it's not a perfect product. But imagine that, a lineup of Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, and some other title to follow, probably by Sledgehammer. But I'd take 2 guaranteed strong hitters over 1 any day. And right now, this has been hinted out by industry insiders as a soft reboot like Modern Warfare was, not necessarily a remake or a remaster, but instead utilizing the same name of Black Ops as we saw with Modern Warfare. And if that's the case, I'd be okay with that. Reinvent, yes. Give me new content, yes. But familiarity sells within Call of Duty, and the Black Ops name is something that, of course, was generally enjoyed by a lot of people at a fundamental level. I don't want a rehash of the exact same story like a remaster would offer. Narratively, I loved what Modern Warfare did, utilizing some familiar faces, bringing more in over time, but giving us a new, gripping narrative and story and universe to care about. New characters, new plot lines, everything like that you may have recognized some names here and there, and of course there were numerous Easter eggs you could pick up on, but it was something new. Black Ops has the exact same potential, and make sure that you advertise that. Modern Warfare's advertising was huge. Whereas I'm not trying to make any excuses because I don't think World War II as a whole has really any selling power by comparison to that, but I'm telling you, man, I barely saw any marketing and promotion for Vanguard this year. Push the names Modern Warfare and Black Ops. Use their selling power. What also I think would honestly be really different, though, is also something alongside this, a long-standing rumor that we'll see whatever 2023 holds, whether it's Black Ops in name or not, that it would be built upon a modified Modern Warfare 2019 engine like Vanguard is and like Modern Warfare 2 will be. This likely all due in part, though, to Warzone, those seamless transitions they're trying to do. And whether or not you like Warzone or not, that is their big seller right now in terms of free-to-play in nature, but capitalizing hugely on microtransactions and also conversions to those mainline, as they call them, premium titles. Warzone catapulted Modern Warfare by millions of copies almost 6 months after its launch. It catapulted Black Ops Cold War into the top 5 selling Call of Duty games of all time, and that game was, if you look at the majority of people probably on YouTube and Twitter and wherever, the vocal minority as they probably are, they'll tell you that they had their gripes with the game. Vanguard's reception by comparison seems very, very low, but I would wager that the conversions that Warzone then translates into full builds, because weapon leveling is so important, I guarantee that still puts this very high in terms of sales. That through line, whether you like it or not, probably isn't going away for quite some time until Warzone isn't profitable, which right now it still is incredibly profitable. So that's something that we're likely going to be seeing here, and logically speaking, it makes the most sense. They want to make sure that everything is sort of available to transition from one to the next with relative ease, and if a developer has to come into play, like we saw where Treyarch had to play cleanup with Black Ops Cold War or something like that, or something catastrophic like that where other studios have to come in, they're all using the same tool sets. They're not trying to have to learn or adapt to different engines, different builds. They're all using the same thing. Logically speaking, that also makes way more sense also just from an administrative standpoint. For us, the players, it probably gets very stale, and honestly, I very much so feel that, but it's likely going to happen. Now, my own personal asks for 2023, I guess, Black Ops, if it actually is that name, if we reboot it here as a soft reboot, let's skip the whole Vietnam era if we're doing that. That may be controversial. I know that's something that is one of the big things that made Black Ops for a lot of people, but it fits better if it's a modern or somewhat close to modern time frame. I mean, you look at the best-selling Call of Duty games, minus the Black Ops golden era here with that, you're going to see modern settings. You're going to see near-futuristic settings. Modern Warfare 2019, the most recent best-selling Call of Duty, and of course, overall best-selling Call of Duty now with the help of Warzone. Black Ops 2 is one that also was huge of the jetpack era. Black Ops 3 sold by and far above the rest. The past eras are, I think, being lesser and lesser received with a lot of excitement. And plus, by this point in 2023, we'll be 2 years away from when Black Ops 2 was set as a futuristic title. That's quite literally modern futuristic at that point. It'll be in the same life cycle from when we'd see Call of Duty 2026. So bring back the Masons, could be straight to David Mason if you wanted, with Alex and Woods being the older father figures if you want in some capacity, but keep it more so modern, based in a relatively realistic design, whether that be modern or near future. Also, give players what they want in a complete package. That is something that I so hope that Modern Warfare 2, with 3 years of uninterrupted development, brings along. But also, if they're doing this with Black Ops, they can get to work on this now. I really hope there's something for everything. Campaign, a killer story, a gripping narrative, multiplayer, plenty of maps, plenty of weapons, accessible weapon leveling, enough modes for everybody, good streaks and things like that. A third mode that can be captivating and have its own sort of following, DMZ and that Tarkov mode for Modern Warfare. If that's done well, honestly, I might no-life the hell out of that. Zombies for Black Ops, return to form. I get the creative side and trying new things. What we see with Vanguard feels so far from what made Call of Duty Zombies. If it wasn't a Call of Duty Zombies name, I think it'd be great, but there's just far too much history and expectation with the Treyarch Zombies project, and post-launch offerings make content that's worth playing towards, good maps, solid quantity of them, good weapons, and just overall filling those gaps for players to keep coming back and having more. Also, maybe consider free-to-play. I mean, Warzone skyrocketed the name Call of Duty again. You're making a boatload off the sales here. I can't quite help but think that soon those annual peaks we see with releases will be inconsequential because there's just so much revenue being made on a daily basis, but maybe we're a little bit further off than that. But anyways, that's where I'm at here at this. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that honestly, Black Ops would be the soft reboot that Call of Duty could use to make 2 years of powerhouses within the Call of Duty franchise. Maybe Sledgehammer gets something too in that third year of development. Maybe Raven gets its own project like we saw Black Ops Cold War is supposed to be, but we'll see how everything works out. But right now, honestly, I think a surefire bet to make the next 2 years killer, Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops as a reboot, done hopefully well. That said, that's going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this here? Are you guys hoping to see a Modern Warfare 2 followed by a Black Ops soft reboot? Do you think the name Black Ops as a whole would sell just like Modern Warfare did? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Call of Duty. 2022, hopefully, fingers crossed, big year for all of us. If you guys want to stay around here on the channel as we gear up for 500,000 subscribers and stay up to date with everything COD related, I'd love to have you. That said, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.